Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Rockford Area Economic Development Council's annual dinner and meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight and for your continued support of the work of the RAEDC. Please continue to enjoy your dinner while we begin our program. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Chadwick. I'm Vice President General Manager of WREX. More important, my role here tonight is that I currently serve as Chairman of the Board of the Rockford Economic Development Council. Tonight's annual meeting is made possible in part by the generous support of sponsorship of several RAEDC investors. Please join me in thanking tonight's premier event sponsors, Alpine Bank, First Northern Credit Union, Hamilton Sunstrand, Rock Valley College, and OFS St. Anthony Medical Center. This meeting is also sponsored by RAEDC Rock Forward President Circle investors who are listed on the screen and on your agenda. Thank you all for your ongoing support of the Rockford region and for the work of the RAEDC. You may have noticed on your screen during tonight's dinner the names of elected officials who are in attendance this evening. It is now my honor to ask all of our elected officials to please stand to be recognized. As always, we appreciate you stepping forward to be elected to important positions that help shape our community. Thank you for being here tonight and for the work you do to improve our region. Next, I'd like to call your attention to the RAEDC solution teams and committees who have worked with our staff to help implement specific initiatives of Rock Forward. These volunteers continue to find creative ways to make our region a better place to do business. These volunteers are the chairs. Please stand when I call your name. Frank Walter, who is chair of the Business Attraction Solutions team. Linda Gerber, chair of the Business and Community Relations Solutions team. Gary Marzorati, chair of Business Retention and Expansion Solutions team. Tom Green, chair of our Audit Committee. And Mike Ellis, chair of the Education Committee. Thank you all. Thank you all and your committee members for the hard work over the past year. Finally, it's my privilege as chairman of the board to participate with Rock Forward, President Circle, and Rock Forward Leadership Council. These investor-driven leadership groups provide guidance about economic development priorities and work to invest seed money from the Emerging Opportunities Fund. I now ask Leadership Council Chair Dr. Bill Gorski and Vice Chair Steve Ward to please stand. Your dedication, along with every President's Circle Leadership Council member, is greatly appreciated. I am pleased tonight to report that at our second annual meeting since the launch of Rock Forward, that our strategies are producing results. That's because of strong collaborative spirit in the board and on our solution teams and in the committees. and among our staff. The region is moving forward. For our region to survive, even prosper in this tough economy, collaboration is indeed the key. When I look across the room tonight, I see private sector companies, public sector municipalities, the labor and trade unions, business organizations, quasi-governmental organizations, educational institutions, and nonprofit agencies. All of us here together working towards a common cause. That cause of making the Rockford region a more prosperous place and having a shared vision for the economic future of Rockford that is taking place. And it's exciting to be part of that. Now more than ever, though, the Rockford Area Economic Development Council needs your support. We need your energy. We need your ideas. We need you to invest in Rock Forward and become a volunteer leader. Not only will you have a seat at the table, but you will be directly involved in shaping the region's economic future. Finally, I'd like to thank you for allowing me to serve as chairman of the board for the past 2 years. I'm especially proud of our investors who choose to stay or those who came to invest this year in Rock Forward. I know that it's been a difficult financial decision for you. It was for me. Writing that check meant I had to make difficult decisions. But after 2 years as chair, I'm even more confident that the only way we will move forward is to set aside our Midwest nice and get to the RAEDC table. We have to debate, we have to decide, and we must take action. We have to find areas on which we can agree. We have to put our money and talent to the test, and this will move us like other regions have moved. Janice is going to tell you more about some of the people we've met with and the places we've gone over these past 2 years. I have seen it firsthand. Regions redefine themselves, but the pattern is always the same. A strong, determined group of community leaders putting their money, their talent into a well-thought plan can bring more positive changes quickly. We need to be calling on connecting with people who will implement changes that our region needs. I urge you to be part of the change our region needs, and we need it now more than ever. Now it is my pleasure to introduce your new RAEDC chairman of the board, Bill Roop, President and CEO of Alpine Bank. Bill has been our vice chairman for the past 2 years and is a well-known community leader. Please help me welcome Bill to the stage.
Thank you, John. It is my privilege to recognize your exceptional leadership as the RAEDC Chairman of the Board for the past 2 years. We truly benefited from your commitment and dedication to the organization, and we are grateful that you will remain on, I am grateful, that you will remain on the board for another year as immediate past chair. On behalf of the Rockford Area Economic Development Council, I present you with this token of our appreciation, which is designed, by the way, locally by one of our companies, ProArc. Please join me in thanking John Chadwick's leadership. During these challenging economic times, I'm proud to be selected as chairman of the board of our region's largest economic development organization. The mission of the RAEDC is twofold. It exists to enhance wealth creation in the greater Rockford area by marketing the region and helping employers retain and create quality jobs. Second, we will collaborate with regional partners to serve as a one-stop resource for clients to improve the competitiveness of the region and to engage the community in the work of the economic development. Now more than ever, we must align our strategies, pool our resources, and work together to sustain and strengthen the economic health of our region. To facilitate our mission, over the last few years, we have developed a plan for our organization known as Rock Forward. Let's take a moment and review each of Rock Forward's 5 primary strategies. First, develop and maintain thriving business climate. Number 2, targeted marketing and recruitment. Number 3, world-class business infrastructure. Number 4, workforce development. And number 5, create an emerging opportunities fund. They are designed to answer specific challenges that we face in further developing our economy. Over the next year, as your chairman of the board, I will work diligently with the board and the staff in an attempt to achieve Rock Forward's goals and strategies. Tonight, I would like to share with you my view of the strategic plan and how it's working. Janice will be discussing later some of the tactics for 2010 and further in the future. As you can see on the screen, the RAEDC Board of Directors developed and approved the goals and strategies of Rock Forward. We know that the goals are only achieved when the strategies are turned into points of impact. The Rock Forward plan has 3 significant points of impact, as you can see. Number 1 is first the tactical plan that is implemented by the staff. Let's look at a couple of these. Strategy 1, thriving business climate. Our plan is to help streamline and improve access to services for small business owners and entrepreneurs. We will promote international trade, which I might add has been improving in this area every year. We will advocate the improvement in the region's business and regulatory climate. Strategy number 2 was target marketing and recruiting. One area that we have in this region that we excel in is the aerospace business. We are meeting and soliciting with those existing companies and soliciting new businesses to join this cluster. We also prepare detailed information to present to site solicitators. We will we will attend specific targeted trade shows, both national and international, and they are working. One example is recently the mayor and some of the EDC staff attended or had a trip to, and I'm going to try this, Shenzhou, China, and the EDC had prepared information and some marketing strategies. Within about a month, we had 4 individuals from China owning a company that were looking at the United States for possible expansion as the economy began to improve. They decided to visit 4 cities. Number 1, Dallas. Number 2, Boston. Number 3, LA. And you guessed it, number 4, Rockford, Illinois. And when asked why, it was our presence and our meeting with people that caused them to take notice of Rockford. Another strategy is world-class business infrastructure, and our desire is to help improve our infrastructure by helping produce a plan of infrastructure improvement. One example of that is the EDD, Economic Development District, that we are embarking on, and Janice will talk a little bit about. Workforce development. We will collaborate with our partners to enhance our region's appeal to the next generation workers. Another example of this is Jobapalooza. Cool. At least it's not a hook. The EDC partnered with other organizations to establish this very successful program. The second portion of the tactical plan has to do with establishing an Emerging Opportunities Fund. This was developed by the Leadership Council. As part of Rock Forward, we set aside $175,000 per year to leverage the potential for new ideas and create opportunities. We have 4 approved initiatives already, and Janice will be talking a little bit about the success of each of those a little later. The third tactical area is the continued execution and work of our solution teams. You heard John talk a little earlier. We have 3 specific solution teams in our plan. The first one, business attraction. I kind of call it go out and get them. And we do that. We meet and are meeting more and more with site selectors, with businesses, looking at clusters and working hard to attract individuals to our community. Second area is business expansion and retention, kind of churning what we have. What can we do to help our local businesses expand, prosper, and create entrepreneurialism for new business? We do this by way of the voice of the customer, which I think you've heard of. We're out talking with our local businesses regularly, finding out what needs they have, what's successful, what we can build on, and what we can help them with. The third is the business climate solutions. That's like, how can we fix our product? What can we help and do better around the greater Rockford area to attract business or to help, again, current and existing businesses grow? I believe that having this focused process will help achieve alignment and definitely excellent results. Over the past 2 years, the Rockford Economic Development Council has both been implementing and improving Rock Forward, their strategic plan. Tell them I'm busy in a moment. Tonight, RAEDC President Janice Fadden is going to speak about those initiatives, results, and next steps. Your feedback after the past events has very much been appreciated, and you indicated, however, that while we had outside speakers come in, one of the major things you were interested in was what's going on in here. Can you give us an in-depth analysis and discussion of what's going on? Given that feedback and this year's economy, we have asked RAEDC President Janice Fadden to be the keynote speaker in tonight's event. We asked Janice to help us more clearly understand the economic conditions globally, nationally, and locally. And we've asked her to give an update on all of Rock Forward. It is therefore my pleasure to introduce RAEDC President Janice Fadden. Janice has served the community over the past 5 years through her work at the EDC. Prior to joining us, Janice worked with major U.S. companies in general management, sales, and marketing. She spent 6 years learning the Toyota production system and has carried those principles into the economic development profession. I've also seen her passion in the community to help wherever needed. Areas like the Next Rockford Group, helping them think through strategic plans, helping the Boys and Girls Club look at a plan and keeping them focused. So she touches so many different areas in this community. It has been my pleasure to have been associated with her. And now it gives me great pleasure, once again, to introduce Janice Fadden, President of the Rockford Area Economic Development Council.
Thank you very much, Bill. We just got a couple things here to do. We have just a very quick video here to start before I really get myself started. You got us rolling, Genevieve?
Stone Soup, Economic Development. Many civilizations have a stone soup parable, a story of sharing during difficult times. A traveler came upon a village and was told to move on as there was no food. The traveler said, "I have what I need. In fact, I'll make some stone soup to share with all of you." The traveler took an iron pot from a knapsack, filled it with water, started a fire, and carefully placed a stone in the pot. "If only I had an onion to add to it," the traveler mused. A villager hesitantly gave one. "A potato would be good," the traveler added. The villagers found this and other small vegetables. Soon there was a pot of delicious soup, which the traveler shared with the hungry villagers. Like the villagers, RAEDC investors are pooling their resources during difficult times. Tonight, learn how regional leaders are coming together, sharing resources for the greater good, creating Stone Soup Economic Development.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John and Bill, for your kind introductions. And John, really, thank you for your leadership the last 2 years. Some of the major reasons behind the success is the support that John and the rest of the board has given the staff and me. And please, let's give John a round of applause. You can't imagine the hours he's put in. Okay, well, thank you very much all for coming tonight. I am very overwhelmed. I'm a little off script. I'll get right on script, but it's really it means so much to me, to the staff, that you all came out tonight to hear about our work. You know, I recently bought an iPod Nano, and I really enjoy the device. I'm listening to music more now than I did when I was a teen, and just as then, I find that phrases stick with me because they mirror what's important to me. And in one song, I heard the line, "Time only goes one way." Mary Chapin Carpenter wrote that. And it's very simple, and it's true. Time only goes one way. We cannot go back. We can only go forward. And the song made me then think about a Gary Hamel quote that some of you have seen me use recently. You're either going forward or backward. There is no in-between. So I began to wonder who was right, Mary Chapin Carpenter, singer-songwriter, or Gary Hamel, what Fortune magazine calls the world's leading expert on business strategy. And how could both of these statements apply to our situation in the Rockford area? Let's go with the premise that both are correct. My proposal is that even though time only goes one way, we choose actions that take us forward or backward. Tonight you will hear about Rock Forward results and my thoughts about moving the region forward, further, and faster. In May 2007, the Board of Directors of the RAEDC approved our 5-year strategic plan called Rock Forward, which includes 5 powerful strategies focused on creating wealth in our region. The basis of wealth creation in our region is jobs at primary employment companies, companies that export their goods and services outside the region, such as manufacturing companies, professional business-to-business companies, logistics. And at the heart of this plan are the retention, expansion, and attraction of employers who create quality jobs. We know that Rock Forward results impact our region to be better than it would have been without the work. But before we look at the results of the Rock Forward to date, let's delve deeper into our economic situation. In 2008, I reported to you that all measurements to goals were on or above track to achieve wealth creation and job targets. Our staff was successfully implementing tactics to achieve the desired results. All was going as planned until the beginning of the 4th quarter of 2008, when the global economy declined at rates not seen since the Great Depression. At our annual meeting last year, we talked about not knowing how the shift in the economy would affect us, and we outlined 3 calls to action for our region, which were grow our international connections, improve our education system, and build a strong, sustainable region. We know that the impact of the recession in our region has been very deep, especially when measured by unemployment. We've been #1 in the state for several consecutive months. In 2008, over 4,000 primary jobs were shed from the Rockford Metropolitan Statistical Area, the MSA, which includes Boone and Winnebago counties. This year, we have seen distress increase throughout the entire region, with increasing business layoffs or closures, a rising use of public aid, and an increase in the home foreclosure rate. We are experiencing unemployment higher than nearby areas. Decatur's at 12.7%. Peoria is at 11.7%. The Quad Cities are at 9.1%. And Dubuque, Iowa is at 5.7%. Just a reminder, we're at 15.7. This is not the list we want to lead. And as you ponder this list, does a question come to you like, how did these other cities that had such similar unemployment rates as Rockford in the early 80s perform better than we at retaining jobs during a downturn? Let's pick out Dubuque and examine their path over the last 20 years. And why? Because I had this aha moment with my friend, the colleague who leads the Greater Dubuque Economic Development Council earlier this year. First, I want you to recall that Dubuque in the 1980s was affected not only by the Rust Belt, but by the farm crisis. And unemployment soared there, and in 1 month in 1982, Dubuque had 23% unemployment, the highest in the nation. Dubuque didn't recover from this recession until the late 90s. Isn't this nearly the same story we tell people about the Rockford area in the 80s? So back to this aha moment I had. It happened in April of this year. We had a Tri-State Alliance meeting, which the Tri-State Alliance is a regional public-private group of economic development officials, business leaders from Northern Illinois, Iowa, and Wisconsin. And we were with Northern Illinois University, and we hosted the American Assembly, a national think tank, for a conference on rebuilding the economy of the tri-state region. At the events, the leaders from Dubuque had just finished speaking about their 20-year community improvement journey that resulted in a 2008 announcement that IBM selected Dubuque as the location of choice for 1,200 high-paying jobs and the potential to grow to 4,000. And those 4,000 are really going to happen. That's quite a turnaround. One that took 20 years of concerted focus, working on the right things together in alignment as a community. Dubuque did this by focusing on assets they could change. They knew that by improving these assets, they could attract employers who would bring jobs. So I complimented them about how well they were doing. And the economic development leader turned to me and he said, "Thanks, but we'll never have what you have." "Have what?" I said to him. "Your location, proximity to Chicago, and infrastructure." Then he said, "When you wake up, you will be so powerful." And so then the question came to me, when will we wake up? How will we take advantage of our assets? And how will we change at a rate faster than the 20 years it took for them? That's what's in front of us. So I start to seek answers to these questions. And I began thinking about our past annual meetings. We had Rebecca Ryan come with her expertise in attracting and retaining the next generation of talent. We had Angelo Angelos come and tell us what site selectors want and what it takes to be competitive. We had Paul Brophy come and tell us about rejuvenating America's older industrial cities. And we had the city of Chicago, Mayor Richard Daley, talk about the importance of central cities change and being connected to the global world. You know, after each of these meetings, we took action from that. We've talked about some of those actions. And these made me recall this childhood story, Stone Soup. How many of you remember this story? You know, it's a great story. It's a parable that's been told in so many civilizations. And it's about the community coming together and sharing during difficult times. And we're right there. So the story really rang loud for me. And I got the book, and this is another version. This is the Buddhist version of Stone Soup. And I made everyone in the staff, we all read it. And the key to change in our region is located right here in this room tonight. Each and every one of us in this room. By combining our talents and our resources, we can accomplish more for our region. Like the villagers in the Stone Soup story, RAEDC investors are pooling their resources during difficult times. By connecting people, projects, and pocketbooks, the RAEDC is bringing our community's leadership together in new ways with new results. But there is more that we can do. I want us to look at 10 examples of how Stone Soup works in the Rockford region. And I got to tell you, that's a tongue twister to say up here. Helen, they told me that when I started this. Sometimes the RAEDC is the stimulus to an idea. And, you know, Rebecca Ryan is one. She stimulated some ideas. And sometimes we're here to accelerate an idea to move forward faster. And that's a lot of the Leadership Council. But let's start first with that attracting and retaining talent to the Rockford Area Steering Committee, which just completed its 4th year with the keynote event, Live Big Weekend, and the Jobapalooza Professional Career Fair. The ARTRA Steering Committee includes leadership from 14 organizations that work together. First, they hired Rebecca Ryan to conduct a handprint, and now they raise money and they implement many of her 21 recommendations to attract the next generation of talent and make Rockford a more attractive place to live and work. We know people have come to our region because of this collaboration. The second example of how Stone Soup works in our region is the Tri-State Alliance. We're going to enter our 3rd year. The Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin Alliance for Advancing Infrastructure and Commerce is convening resources among a collaboration of 16 counties. With a budget that's generated in the event, this year's successful summit in Dubuque had over 150 federal, state, and local officials discussing how to better align our regional efforts. The Amtrak Passenger Rail initiative was the key focus of the group this year. A third example of Stone Soup is the annual Go Global International Conference and Exhibition. This premier event in our region attracts over 200 attendees. And the steering committee includes leadership from the RAEDC, Greater Rockford Airport Authority, Supply Corps, Rockford Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Bank. By working together, we bring world-renowned experts to assist local companies with global connections. We know that local companies have been positively affected by implementing plans from the advice they've heard at this conference. The next 4 examples of Stone Soup are projects that were seeded by the RAEDC Leadership Council. The work being done and the dedication by the 50-plus Leadership Council members is truly impressive. First project is the Freedom Field Renewable Energy Project that's led by Winnebago County Board Chair Scott Christensen and John Holmstrom. It's under construction. This project is a $3.5 million plus demonstration area for showcasing how the region can use and prosper from alternative energy. Using grants from the state of Illinois and matching funds from the Emerging Opportunities Fund and Winnebago County, it's drawn national and international attention to the Rockford area. The second Stone Soup example, seeded by the Leadership Council, is the Rockford Charter School Initiative. This community-wide collaborative effort has successfully organized and brought to Rockford School District 205 3 charter schools to date. The committee of over 25 community leaders continues to work with the approved charter schools and closely with District 205. Their work to date has been funded by the Emerging Opportunities Fund and local foundations. The third Leadership Council funded project is the Rockford Area Career Clearinghouse to connect college students and recent grads to jobs and internships. This was led and co-funded by the Higher Education Alliance of the Rock River region here. And now it's housed at the Rockford Chamber of Commerce. It's established a website for local employers and regional students and grads to post their jobs and post their resumes to connect themselves. Many communities have a project like this now. And the fourth Stone Soup example, seeded by the Leadership Council, is the Rock River Development Partnership. This focuses on more than a master plan for our region's central core, downtown Rockford. We all know how important it is to revitalize the heart of the community. We've heard it from almost every speaker who's come up to this podium at an annual meeting. Combined with matching funds from the Greater Rockford Airport Authority and the Rockford Housing Authority, this new collaboration, led by Peter Provenzano, is working closely with business, nonprofits, and private sector businesses. We're looking forward to a lot of output from that group. Finally, I'd like to complete the top 10 list with 3 exciting ideas that are vital to our future. The first is through funding from the Rockford Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and facilitation from NIU, a Winnebago County, Winnebago and Boone County, I always say county right after Winnebago, a Winnebago and Boone County bi-county group of 35 private and public sector leaders met earlier this year to prepare a comprehensive economic development strategy document for the Economic Development Administration of the federal government. Now that's a mouthful, but it's a key step that qualifies our MSA for federal assistance on projects related to job creation. We're preparing to submit a number of grants to the EDA to assist us lower our cost for implementing projects that create jobs. Second, there are very exciting changes underway at Rockford Aero Ventures, who is the parent for the Eiger Lab. They're working very closely with Rock Valley College and the RAEDC to accelerate how entrepreneurship is done in this region. These three, along with NIU and Rockford College, and Growth Dimensions of Boone and Belvedere, are participating in a 6-county partnership application for an automotive industry distressed region entrepreneurship grant. That's a mouthful. And this grant begins to get us working with Boone County, Boone, Winnebago, Rock, Walworth, Kenosha, and Racine. It's been fascinating. We have met some marvelous people with great ideas, and the sharing that's happening and the ability through this collaboration to bring resources and talents from these 6 counties towards innovation is going to create a lot of job opportunity for our region. I am proud to announce that number 10 on our list of Stone Soup examples is the recent approval of the Winnebago County Regional Collaboration Policy, developed and signed by the municipalities investing in the RAEDC. The document on display tonight formalizes what we already do well in the Rockford region, collaborate to win jobs. We know that collaboration among cities, villages, and counties is crucial to success, and we are very pleased that all of the municipalities approve this policy. So we're going to have a quick photo opportunity, and can you come to the stage as I call your name? We're going to get a group photo up here with the regional policy, and can you hold your applause until they all come up? City of Loves Park Mayor Dale Lindberg, City of Rockford Mayor Larry Morrissey, Village of Cherry Valley Jim Clayson, Mayor Jim Clayson, Village of McChesney Park Mayor Tom Strickland, Village of Rockton Mayor Dale Adams, Village of Roscoe Mayor Dave Krenke, Village of Winnebago Mayor Frank Eubank, and Winnebago County Board Chair Scott Christensen. Let's all thank him for this excellent work. Come on down here in front of it. Frank, thank you for being here. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Adams. Thank you. Thanks, Chairman. Okay. Yeah, you know, the mayors and leaders, they... The sign. Thank you. Thank you all. Not many communities have come to this level of cooperation. It's an important marketing tool, and it's an important way for us to continue to work together. Those of us that worked on this are excited about one of the statements talks about us meeting on a regular basis, and the meetings we had were very interesting, and we're looking forward to continuing this. What is important in all 10 of these examples is how we use the power of Stone Soup to move our community further and faster today than yesterday. My personal thanks go to each leader and committee member who worked on these Stone Soup stories. So now let me talk about how the staff and I carefully and continuously adjusted our 2009 tactics to meet our current economic situation. We began to increase contacts with existing companies. As most of you know, 70% of job creation come from the businesses that are already here. So existing businesses are our best source for jobs. A quarterly feet on the street survey kept us abreast of the local market situation, and if you responded to us, thank you very much. We also increased the number of voice of the customer surveys and business retention calls. The close to 100 calls this year has yielded over 150 action items, including requests for connections to people and programs. Business attraction work became more targeted to international and aerospace industries. Did you know that the Rockford region has over 80% of the aerospace employment in the state of Illinois? This is a growing global industry, and many international aerospace companies are looking for U.S. locations. Our aerospace industry investors assisted us in developing and refining the plan. With the Chicago Rockford International Airport as a major asset, we have much to promote. Our marketing work on behalf of the region includes many tactics, and we're going to look at another short video that takes us through some of the tactical work of the EDC.
In 2009, in review. The fourth quarter of last year brought the most severe economic downturn since the Great Depression. If current trends continue, Rockford region unemployment is predicted to rise over 17% in 2010. The region lost 2% of its overall income in the last 2 years. 26 of the largest 500 companies in the region closed their doors in the last 3 years. These closures resulted in 4,000 employees losing their jobs. Since 2008, 11,000 jobs have been lost due to downsizing and layoffs. A net 17,000 jobs were lost in the last 2 years alone. But because of the work of Rock Forward and economic development professionals in the region, the Rockford region had 15 client wins in 2009 and received 109 project referrals. Economic development client wins committed $90 million in new investment. 750 new primary jobs were attracted, expanded, or retained from the work of local economic development professionals. As a result, an estimated $27 million in income has been retained for the region. New primary jobs resulted in an estimated $70 million spent locally. For the first time since 1980, our region has an official, comprehensive economic development strategy. This qualifies and prepares the region for economic development grants. The RAEDC, along with area agencies, is applying for $18.5 million in economic development grants. Rock Forward programs have increased the gross metro product an estimated 2%. This is a return on investment in the program of 163 times. We had 63 business attraction client visits and did 91 voice of the customer surveys. In 2008, experts rose over 5%. They represent 12% of the GMP. Total GMP rose an estimated 2% to $12.1 billion in 2008. The RAEDC sent out over 15,000 announcements about economic development client wins. There were 212 mentions in the media about local economic development. Nearly 9,000 newsletters were distributed. Over 2,200 people were reached by staff at major speaking engagements. 51 articles were written by RAEDC staff in major publications. 14 trade delegations came to the Rockford region with over 100 visitors. Our new website has brought an increase of almost 300% in traffic. Top international visitors to our website come from Sweden, Canada, India, and China. 6 international trade missions were completed. Rockford's first economic development intern is in Sweden. So despite the economic downturn, our region is working together to shape the future we want now. And because of your support, this progress is possible.
Okay, thank you. So you get a sense from there of some of the things that we've been working on. The economic development professionals right now, we're managing about 110 confidential client projects, and we work very closely together. We meet formally 2 times a month. Daily, we're usually on the phones with each other talking about projects. And some of our 2009 successes for the community include companies like Balanced IT Solutions, Benedictine University, FMS, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Tigerfish with Caney Aerospace, Trident Manufacturing, Wangshan, Whitney Megafab. We're grateful to these companies for their investments in our region, and we look forward to many years of growth and success for them. To accelerate the aerospace success, the state of Illinois supported the RAEDC at the Paris Air Show. The results were strong, with 33 meetings and 7 hot leads. And then, as Bill said, we made a trip to China where we had over 35 sales calls, and clients came to Rockford the next month. We supported our friends at Growth Dimensions of Belvedere and Boone County for their trip to Torino, Italy. That's where Mark Williams is today. They went with the Center for Automotive Research to call on Fiat. We also assisted on a recent trip for Rockford Mayor Morrissey to Milan, Italy, where he attended a conference on emerging from this global recession. We prepared presentation materials on the region, and we developed a special Rockford area book based on our sister cities. You know, site selection is both about meeting the needs, but also having people know you. You have to get out there and shake hands. Our network of potential clients grows, and our consistent marketing program is one reason we are gaining more interest. You know, I was at a recent networking event, and a senior economic development professional said to me, "Oh, you're from Rockford? You know, 3 years ago, we never heard about you. And now there isn't a site selection that's happening in the Chicago area that they don't ask us for a Rockford alternative." So we know our programs are working. As I mentioned earlier, the Leadership Council plays an important role. Each time this council meets, we're building a stronger network of community leaders focused on seeding projects that produce a wealthier future. In addition, the President's Circle, our highest level of investors, initiated the idea to engage a grant writer, and First Rockford Group stepped up to provide the seed money. For 2010, the staff and I discussed, what further changes are we going to need? It's going to be another tough economic year. And so we often look to data to provide direction to our actions. So we looked at a recent analysis from NIU. It provides an interesting view of the changes in our manufacturing landscape. The source of our region's wealth begins, as I said, with companies that export goods and services outside our region. For us, manufacturing companies dominate that list. So this new tool lets us analyze and compare locally owned and managed firms to those that are branches or subsidiaries of companies domiciled elsewhere. The data exists for 2 years, 2006 and 2007, but you can already see a pattern that you may have intuitively thought about. From 2006 to 2007, we had a net gain of 20 manufacturing companies in the Rockford MSA, or 1.5%. For that same data of the manufacturing companies that had a gain of 1.5%, the employment fell 9%. Now, half of the region's manufacturing employment is in non-resident businesses, and that fell 15%. But for the resident businesses, they're talked about in 4 stages, and maybe some of you use this in your business, but there's a stage 1, 1 to 9 employees, stage 2, 10 to 99, stage 3, 100 to 499, and stage 4, which is 500 plus. So when you look at the data, and let's combine 1 and 2 together, they grew 89%. They added 10,244 jobs. between 06 and 07. At the same time, stage 3 and 4, the larger companies, declined by almost 100%, by 6,245 jobs. Now, some of the data changes could be explained by a private company being sold to a non-resident company, or if employment shrunk, you shrink down in a stage. But it's really kind of powerful when you look at it. It really impacted how we began to think about 2010. It really focuses us to say, we've got to do a better job retaining non-resident companies. And we have to find a way to grow smaller resident companies, stage 1 and 2, into larger stage 3 and 4 companies. Therefore, when we look at the 2010 tactics, we want to conduct more voice of the customer surveys, but we want to conduct many more at companies less than 100 employees. We want to have a stage movement. We want to move people from 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. We want to know what resources they need that we could provide as the community to them. We want to call on corporate headquarters. We want to meet with non-resident companies and explore opportunities about how we can bring more businesses to our region and assure that we're meeting their needs. There's some key marketing tools that need to be updated in the next year. Targeted marketing analysis and the labor shed analysis. Clients expect to see up-to-date information when they come. That's how site selectors decide if we're on the list or not on the list. And we want to continue to expand our international work. Exports were up 12%. They represent 12%, and they were up $130 million even with a recession. So we want to continue our aerospace work. We want to participate in the Farnborough Air Show, which is in the United Kingdom, because when we consistently show up at a show, people start to think, this region is serious, we ought to take a look there. We're going to host here in Rockford International Bioenergy Days, and we expect over 400 people there. It's a show that's coming from Sweden to here. And we want to market our immigration through investment program. We are a part of a special district called Immigration Through Investment. It allows high-wealth immigrants to get a permanent visa by investing money and creating jobs in a region. I know that many of the meetings that they had in China were about this program. These tactics, combined with our existing strong marketing program and regional cooperation, are bringing promising opportunities to our region. Based on recent discussions with leading economic development professionals, despite the tough economic times, the results for our client projects, the bidding and the closure that we have, are above average for our peers in the state of Illinois. So the work that you have invested in is returning better results than our peer group. But we know that these results are not enough. We must do more. You know, there's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have to go far quickly. We could use a bigger, better pot of stone soup. What needs to be added to that soup that's going to move our region faster? Many people want a quick fix. You know, there's no quick fix, only dedication and determination. Implementing strategies and improving entire regions is sheer hard work. There's no substitute for it. We didn't do it in the 80s. We can't afford to skip it this time. I found another quote that hit what I was thinking. Tom Patterson, he's one of the most successful corporate strategy consultants, said, "Success is not unlimited opportunity, but focused possibilities." In other words, achievement comes from picking the best from all the good options and aligning massive amounts of resources behind those few things. So I propose tonight that our region needs focused possibilities so that we can retain, expand, create, and attract employers and create jobs. When we focus together, we can advance the following 4 areas that will significantly improve the competitive nature of the Rockford region. Using stone soup economic development, we can start changing tonight. The tools and resources are here. We all need to be at the table and get started. First, let's work together to embrace and assist our local companies. There are over 1,100 Rockford area companies in stage 1 and 2, so knowing all of them is difficult. You know, the staff at the RAEDC is small in number, but you know, there's 700 of us here tonight. You could suggest to a company that you're doing business with that you know are growing or capable of growing to call the RAEDC. You might have a connection that could help position our region with a major corporation that isn't domiciled here so we can grow. Give us a call. We can only find about companies when you call us. We can seek and look at the data, but we've got to focus and get to the right ones right away. Second, we can work together to grow our international connections. I believe we can become America's best mid-sized international region. It's a unique market position we can claim. We have competitive advantages that others do not have. And when we grow internationally, we strengthen our region. We have assets here that can help international parent companies competitively manage their U.S. operation. We know that from the companies who are here. So maybe you have an international delegation coming, or you know a visitor that's coming to the region. Call us. Give us an opportunity to show them why the Rockford region could be the right choice for their next investment. The third thing is to come together and improve our education system. We know that the future workers mainly come from people who are born and raised here. For many, their credentials are from our local education facilities, from K through 12 to college to career training. And we need to support the educational institutions to meet the current and future workplace needs. We need to build stronger ties with each of the institutions. And you could get involved with many of the community service groups focused on our youth by calling the education institutions or the RAEDC. Finally, we can work together to build a strong, sustainable region. And it's really not all about being green. We do need to be green, but we need a region that excels in low cost for operating a business. We need vibrant communities that are well regarded for quality of life. That means planning, investing, and preparing for businesses and residents. You can get involved in the public planning process that governments use to make their decisions. You can support one of the many quality of life venues to assure their success. Or you could join one of the many organizations that work to make a more beautiful region. So tonight I ask you to focus on 4, last year 3, now 4 strategic breakthroughs. You can be a part of this work. You are a part of this work. Your call to action is to be a part of a stone soup project. Pick one. Get involved. See what you can do to help us move further, faster, together. You can help shape a region that retains, expands, creates, and attracts employers and quality jobs. You know, tonight I covered many of the areas of the work of the RAEDC and what the community is doing. And if I missed an initiative or such that you worked on, please know that I'm really limited by time and I have really difficult choices up here. But you must know that in these challenging economic times, we're grateful to those of you who made the choice to invest in the RAEDC. I know that writing that check was difficult for many of you this year. We know that without you, we would have not had the successes we highlighted tonight. Without you, we wouldn't have the ingredients for making a successful stone soup. Your continued support of Rock Forward assures that our region is moving forward. So let's dedicate ourselves to fund and create the future we want now more than ever. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you very much, Jen. Remarks. I guess I do have it. Kind of premature there. If you'd like more information about the work of the RAEDC, or would you like to become a Rock Forward investor, please contact Janice or her team at the RAEDC offices. The 2009 annual meeting for the Rockford Area Economic Development Council is now adjourned. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to many successes as we strive to create the future we want now. Good evening.